All right, a buddy of mine dropped off this little Willys replica. This was made in Japan by the Mitsubishi Corporation, and I don't know how long he's had it, but he bought a carburetor kit for it, or bought a carburetor. Wants to this dog's been driving me nuts today, trying to get stuff done. She is just wanting to play nonstop. He's wanting a carburetor put on it, so that's what we're gonna do. He bought a Weber for it. We're gonna pop the hood on this thing, set up shop, and I was gonna do it outside because it's a nice day and we're kind of out of room in there. Let's get this carburetor. Let's look at this carburetor that's sent. See what we're working with here. It's a 2-barrel. It's got a choke cable. I don't know what that was. Okay. I don't know. Got an adapter. Whoop, bracket. I don't know what those big old plugs are. Those are huge. I don't know what that goes to. We'll find out. Got a little air cleaner. Some more bolts and stuff down there. Another bracket. Oh, this ought to be fun. Okay. Alright, took my nut off there. Proceed to get rid of this air cleaner setup that we're not going to need anymore. Should just pop off of there. Oh, it's mounted here too, so we got to take that one off. Get these hoses off. All right, we got that mounting bolt off there. Pop that deal off. There, I don't know what. Okay, it's got a tiny hole in it. That's what I said. It doesn't even have a hole in it. Okay. So I don't know what we're going to do with all these hoses. That hose is still on the air cleaner there. Maybe that's what those big plugs are for. That's where heat comes off of the exhaust manifold. It helps heat the intake charge. I doubt we're going to reuse that. We'll probably end up just taking that off. Yeah, not real sure on how some of this emission stuff works. Alright, the 2 cables undone. We're going to go ahead and start working on these mounting bolts. Got a 12mm deal. I got a little short wrench. They weren't tight. I'm going to break these loose. There's 4 of them, 2 on each side. I'm going to get those loose, get those spun off. And go ahead and take a few of these lines off. I don't know if this is a base plate or if this is part of the intake yet. I'm not real sure. So we're going to leave this alone, get the carburetor off, and see what we're working with. Yeah. Okay, I've got the 4 nuts off, 2 on this side, 2 on the other, and there's another bolt. It's a 10mm deal right here. You got to take out, and that'll get your carburetor loose. And as soon as I start pulling up on it, there's stuff running out. Looks like coolant, so I'm shutting this valve down. It looks like it may cut the coolant passages off to the base of the carburetor. I'm hoping we can screw this down and maybe we won't have any coolant flow, but I don't know. Kind of doesn't feel very good. It feels kind of wonky as I'm screwing it down. Okay, the carb is off. We're gonna have to clean up this material here. I stuck a rag down in there because we had a little bit of coolant leaked down into the intake. There's your old carburetor, and side by side comparison. That's how it goes. This would be looking from the passenger side, or really the driver's side, because it's right-hand drive. This would be from the right-hand side of the car, I believe. I do believe. All right. So we got these plates. Allows us to mount this thing on. This is our top plate. This will be our base plate. It's going to go on like so. And I got gas on me. I'm going to copper coat this gasket material that's going to go down, because it's sealing off the coolant passage and the EGR passages, it looks like. So we're going to get that sealed up good in this little dinky gasket. I just don't want it to leak past it. And it says you can use a grease or appropriate sealing compound, not RTV or silicone. And that is definitely not that. And this is will seal gasoline and oil. So this copper coat gasket compound should do the trick. Copper coat is some sticky stuff. If you get it on you and you can't get it off with soap and water, which you won't be able to, use WD-40 on a rag. This stuff will come off when you use that. WD-40 is great. It takes off sap too. All right, so I just slid that plate on, slid the gasket down. Here, I guess I didn't show you. The gasket's down, plate's down. Okay, so we got to pull these studs out because they don't line up with the carburetor or the adapter. So this bolts, the carburetor bolts to this bolts down to this. But in order to do so, we've got to take these studs out, and we got to replace it with these. These will go down in this taper and sit flush, and then this will screw down to this plate with these tapered, these 4 tapers, and the carburetor will go into these 4. So if you don't know how to remove studs, you just screw one nut down and you double nut it. Screw another nut down, and then you lock them together with 2 wrenches. All right, so I'm going to put my wrench, which you probably can't see from that camera angle, but it's the best I can do. That wrench on the bottom nut, this one on the top nut. I'm going to lock them together, and I'm going to try. Let's see what I can do with the socket. No, it's just going to spin the top one off. I got to spin the bottom one off. Up. Every time I touch that fuel line, it gives me a handful of fuel, which is lovely. Okay. Probably should be using a longer handled wrench than this. This is a stubby. It's not staying locked together. Damn, this stuff's not going to turn. Oh, not good. Alright, I'm going to put some PB Blaster on these studs. Let that sit. I may have to let it sit overnight. I'm about to lose daylight. Still winter time, so it's getting dark about 6. And it's after 5, I know. About 5:15. Well, I've been working on that one for quite some time, and I cannot get it out. So I moved on to another one to see if that one would come out, and that one's coming out with no problem. So I'm gonna have to let this one sit overnight. Some PB Blaster on it, and hopefully in the morning I can get it out. If not, I might have to put some heat to it. It's got to come out of there. I can't mount the carburetor without getting these studs out, so it's a problem if we can't get it out. It's the little things on projects like this that slow you down like crazy. You take like a 2-hour job and turn it into a 2-day job, you know, just a little tiny things that come about. This one's coming out pretty well. Maybe I'll spin it out for the socket now. Yeah. I hope the rest of them come out that easy. There you go. Get you a stud. Now get your nuts back off. Move on to the next one. Alright, so next day, just got done taking this goofy Boogie dog for a walk. Alright, Boogie, let's go. I gotta try to see if these studs, hopefully the camera will not be as shaky now too. For some reason it got kicked off of rock steady. This is I'm shooting on a little Osmo Action, so it's got a rock steady feature. It keeps the camera from jiggling around, and I think the last couple times I've used this thing, it was not on for some reason. I don't know, let my boys run it for a minute, and that's what happens, I think. Little fingers go all sliding across the screen, and buttons get pushed, and they don't even know they did it. So anyway, maybe she'll be content for a minute. Pooped in the neighbor's yard. I had to go get it with a shovel, so that was fun. Alright, so where we left off, I got these 2 studs out. These 2 studs will not budge. So I sprayed them several times with PB Blaster. Hopefully that has loosened up something. Hopefully they're not galled in there from differences of metal or something. And these are the studs we took out of the other side. So they should just spin right out. Not sure why they're fighting me so bad, but we'll give it another shot here before I put some heat on them. I might even try to, there's not a whole lot of room to put some vice grips down there. Just it's too low to the fender, I think. I mean, I probably could, but I don't think I could get a good swing at it with anything. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to put the heat gun on it. These are fuel lines, so I really don't want to put the torch on it. You won't catch anything on fire. Maybe I put the heat gun to it though, heat the studs up. If I can't break them loose here. Frustrating. Breaking out the old Milwaukee heat gun. We'll see if heating these things up will do anything. We're gonna try maybe making the metal expand a little bit will make it budge. I don't know, I'm starting to lose hope here. Stick it on high. Normally I would stick a torch on that, but I've got that brand new gasket down there below it that's already been tacked down, so I don't want to damage the gasket, and I don't want to catch this thing on fire with the gas lines exposed, and I don't want to have to deal with that right now. So hoping the heat gun will be excuse me, getting over a head cold, enough. We'll see. Let's just heat up one at a time, not worry about two at a time. Get this thing as hot as I can with the heat gun. Check back and let you know how it goes. Okay, so I've been defeated with a double nut on those two studs, so I went and got a stud extractor. Should work for a 1/4 to 1/2 inch stud. It's to be used with a 1/4 or a 3/8 impact gun on low setting. So we're going to give this a shot. I've made it 30 years without having to buy one of these, so we're going to figure out if this thing works or not. Alright, it's down on the stud. I just hand tightened it. I've never used one of these, so I don't know. Slipping off or it's coming out. I don't know which. As long as it don't break off. Sounds like it's on high, not low. I don't know if it's coming out of there or not. I'm going to give it a second to cool off because I don't want to overheat it and break it. Coming out, I can see the threads. Hey, boy, I wish I had that yesterday. There we go. So I bought that at O'Reilly's down the road for like 20 bucks, maybe less than 20 bucks. So hang on a second. See, I'll show you. It was $24.37 is what it cost me. So that's not bad. It's part number or item number W83203. W83203. So if you don't own one of those, hey, it says you can do it by hand too. But that sure was easy with the impact gun. I've been struggling with those two studs for, I'm embarrassed to say how long. But I was determined to get them out with a double nut method because I've done that so many times. So, God, man, why didn't I own one of these before? I don't know. Tools, they'll speed things up. Did not get so lucky on the other one. It broke off. So now I get the great pleasure to try to drill and tap that hole. One of my most favorite things to do, being very sarcastic, in the world is drill and tap broken bolts out. And so the bolts and stud, same thing. All right, so it would not come out double nutted. Soaked it overnight with penetrating oil, hit it with a stud remover. 3 out of 4 ain't bad, I guess. 2 I got out double nutted, 1 out with a stud remover, and this one, no go. Broke off. So, I get to try to drill that out. I'll work on that for a while. Great. Penetrating oil down in the hole. I already squirted it. Somebody shoot a rifle behind me. Oh, this has been lovely out here. We had tree guys trimming for the last 3 days. Now we got somebody, I don't know, shooting a high-powered rifle back behind my house. Dog's going crazy. I gotta drill out this daggum broke bolt. drilled out fairly easy. I did use a brand new drill bit. I don't like to use dull drill bits when I'm trying to tap something or drill something out the tap, so I went and bought a brand new one. Mine was dull. So we've got a 8mm by 125 tap. It was drilled out 17/64. I'll try to put some threads in this thing. Nice and straight. Don't want to go too fast with a tap. You want to go back and forth because you will break one off. I have done it, and once you break the tap off, it is not fun getting it out, let me tell you. Some people would have just put 3 bolts in it and been done, but I'm not going to do that. I'd like to have equal pressure so we don't have any vacuum leaks. So I put a rag down there to catch my shavings. It's wet too, and this hole is not boogered up, but this hole I'm about to stick an air gun down in there and blow my shavings out, and see if a bolt will run down in there that I just tapped. Got a little PB blaster running down in there. Must have been collected up under the plate. I don't want to hydraulic the hole either. Let's see if my new threads are worth a crap. They are, but I may have to go just a touch deeper. Either that or it's hydraulic because all that dang fluid in there. I've almost got this thing whooped, but I ran into a little snag. As you saw, the bolt almost went all the way down, but it didn't have enough threads, so I drilled it out just a little bit more, and ran my tap down, and then it kind of felt a little weird, so I pulled it back out. I don't know if you can see that, but right there it broke off a few teeth of my tap, so it stopped cutting down there where I needed to cut, so had to run out again. It's the third time I had to go out this morning and get another tap. We'll see if hopefully this thing will hold up and won't break off in there. It's a Cobalt from Lowe's, so I don't know. I mean, my Mac tap broke broke teeth off, so that is about 25 years old. I've had that tap set forever, but there was nothing wrong with the tap when we started this project. I almost got it whooped. Trying not to let it whoop me. This job should have been done yesterday. It should have been bing, bang, boom, pull the studs out, switch the plates out, put the carburetor on, hook some lines and linkage up, and go with it. But this is how auto mechanics goes. You just run into these problems. These 2-hour jobs turn into 8-hour jobs, and that's how you lose your rear end on being a mechanic. This occupation is brutal sometimes. It can really take a toll on your body, your mind, and just make you want to say, screw it, I'm not doing this anymore. I've done that several times. That's why I kind of just piddle out of the house, out of this home shop. I did this full time for many years, and I just don't want to do it full time anymore. New tap would not fit in the holder of the tool holder, or whatever you want to call it, the little one I had the socket on. Wouldn't fit. It's too small, so I had to go with a little handheld one. No ratchet. But you don't want to move too fast with these things anyway. Taps scare me. You know why? Because I've broken them. Don't like to break them. This is dragging out, but y'all want to see real world wrenching? This is real world wrenching. This is no hokey pokey staged shit. Okay, we finally have a finished product here. Man, I hate when that stuff happens, but we're moving on. Got it fixed. I'm gonna get that plate back off, clean everything up real good. I'm worried about my gasket underneath there, from where I set, put the gasket maker on there yesterday, but didn't get a good clamp on it. So I'm gonna pull that plate up and take a peek at it on that bottom side and make sure that my gasket's not compromised. If it is, we got to come up with a gasket. I bet you that gasket's not fun to find. I may have to buy some gasket material and trace that out and make a gasket. So we will we'll find out here in just a minute when I pull that plate off, and we'll go from there. Here's a little better look at my hole that I fixed with the plate off of it. There's the gasket that came back off. It's boogered up just a little bit on the outside edge, but that's on the outside edge of this, so that's not going to hurt anything. It's got a seal around here, and it really needs to seal off this this coolant passage that's no longer used. I wish there was a better way to plug that coolant passage off, but there's really not. So we will reapply our gasket material stuff and clamp this down for good now, thank God. Fresh little coat of copper coat down. Hopefully this is the last time we have to fool with this plate. Alright, we'll get this cinched down. Alright, so got that gasket down. I've got just Vaseline on it. It's just a good way to throw a paper gasket down, especially if you need to reuse it at any point. You can use chapstick or Vaseline. It works pretty decent. Got This one gets these little guys to hold it down. And they'll go flush so the carburetor can sit down with this gasket on top, which will get studs and nuts. We'll get that cinched down. This is a universal kit, and usually when you get a universal kit, it universally doesn't fit. So this is, you know, fight me a little every step of the way type deal, which you know, it's just part of it. But you know, we've already been over the whole stud removal scenario. That was a royal pain in the butt. Now that we've got the carburetor on, we've got a supplied bracket that doesn't fit because it's hitting that, which I'm assuming that's got to be the fuel pump, because that's our fuel lines coming in and out. And this is a fuel supply line, I would imagine, and the fuel filter, and that goes in. Of course it says in, and then it goes out. And then there's a return, I think, but I don't believe this carburetor has any kind of a return. It just has an in. It has a tap for a return or something possibly there. This is our choke cable, which has got to be routed around to here. It'll hold in there. It should probably, I don't think it's going to fit. I don't think it's going to be long enough, which means it did come with a cable though, so we could change that cable. But this cable is a throttle cable. Of course, I got to cut this bracket down. Got to modify this bracket a little bit to get it past this fuel pump, so it'll sit down on my stud right there. And then we've got to cut this cable end off and use this deal here and stick the cable through that little eyelet right there, and then mount this wherever we feel suited in this bracket for the throttle. So wherever that kind of reaches, I guess we'll stick that there. But this is just kind of pushed in there. I don't know if that's going to stay or not. I don't know if there's no clip or anything. When I go and push the throttle pedal, I need a little helper. I might have to go get my son. He's got home from school. Let's see. Alright, that's down. Of course, it doesn't have any tension on it. And that's back. I don't know if it'll stay in there or not. We'll see. Let me get it modified, cut this bracket down. Ugh. I got it stuck now. Still touching a little bit. Cut it down with a Ziz wheel. And it'll go on. Looks like I need to trim just a little bit more off. Alright, so here's our final product. It's like a seal. But anyway, alright, maybe I'm getting delirious from working on this dang thing. It'll sit just like that. It does touch the pump, but I don't think it's going to bother anything. It sits down fine. Stick the cable back in it, and hopefully that'll be it on that. Okay, so we've got the throttle linkage hooked up. I did not mess with the choke yet. I'll worry about that in a little bit. I'm worried about getting this thing running because we're supposed to get some rain. I need to get it back in there. So we got fuel lines. We've got fuel supply to the carburetor. And these are returns here, and I believe here. So I need to connect these two together or put this directly to there. I think that's just what I'll do there. Eliminate this piece altogether. Replace this hose and hook that to that. We've got to have a plug off for this water hose because we don't have water choke anymore. What else? We've got to plug off some vacuum lines. We got to hook up a choke. Oh yeah, we got a manual choke cable. Duh. What else was there? Power brake booster. The hell is that? It's an Amazon van. That's the craziest damn backup siren I've ever heard. All right, came with some big plugs for plugging off some exhaust ports. There and there, I believe, because we're not using that. And is there a vacuum source for the brakes? I don't see one. All right, we're gonna deal with those items and then see where we're at. It's our return. So we should be able just to take this return. I'm gonna route it through here. Stick it there. And I need a Phillips to tighten that up. We'll worry about that in a minute. Get rid of this bad boy. Replace it with this. Man, it's like 70 degrees today out here. I'll take it for February. But I believe we're having some rain tomorrow. And it's going to be dropping back into the 20s at night. Freaking bugs flying around me. Well, even the bugs are out. Alright, we'll trim off a little bit of this hose. This should run now in case it does start raining. We got sun out though, so I don't think we got to worry about rain at the moment. Want to over tighten your lines, but you don't want to leak either. Tight. It's tight. I got to tighten that one. I'll do that before I forget. I'm gonna trim a little bit of this hose off. It's cracking a little bit at the end. I want to trim off where it was clamped before. They're splitting. Good now. replaced the hose and drew blood from the distributor advance to the carburetor. Eliminated the EGR vacuum. We may have to cap that off, and we have to cap this off, and we got to cap this off. I routed this return spring, as you can see where my hand's at too, to a little bracket that's right here on the fender well. I think that's going to be okay, but if it's not, then I'll move it. Put a couple vacuum caps on. It came with this deal right here. I'm not sure what it's for, but I'm pretty sure, well, I thought it was for the return spring, but I don't know where you're supposed to put it. And like I said, this is a universal kit, so sometimes you just gotta figure out stuff on your own. Okay, I figured out what this bracket is. It's to mount the choke pull. Like I said, it's already got a choke cable on it, but man, it is just a touch too short. It is a little short for the, I mean, I could make it work probably. I mean, I can get the cable to it. It just won't go in the hold down here. Might be able to find the old hold down off the old carburetor, which is this, and make it work on something. Oh, look at that. Let's see. Where's it? This. Where's it about? Let's see if I can figure something out. All right, we're back on the little flat fender here. We had to take about a week and a half off on this project. I know it's all in the same video. But I went and helped a buddy of mine build some custom cabinets. He had a deadline he was trying to meet and needed some help, so I went over there and helped him for about a week and a half. Now we're back in working in the shop. We've got the carburetor put on. It does run. We got to install this new choke cable. So I took the old choke out, this slot right here. That little hole is too small for these threads. The little mount tab that I was showing you before, I didn't know what it went to, does mount for this if you need to mount this like under the dash or something, kind of like one of these deals here. But we're not going to do that. We're going to put it back where we're going to, that choke, we went ahead and took that choke cable out, which is very similar. It has 3 little screws. This one just has a nut that goes up behind it and tightens down, so it'll sandwich in between that dash. But I got to open that hole up a little bit, so I'm going to do that, and we're going to thread that in. Hopefully get that choke cable routed before the rain comes. It's kind of a yucky day, and we've only got just a little bit of time before this rain pops in here and washes us out. With the Trans Am hanging right there, I don't have room to leave this hood up and work on it, I don't think. I might be able to put the hood up first to the windshield and then get it up in there. I may end up doing that. I don't want to leave the Elko out in the rain today, and definitely not pushing the Trans Am out. So we're jumping right back on this. We've got a shipment of parts coming today for this. So if you're into the Trans Am build, we have a bunch of videos on this thing. Come back and check me out on that. We're going to hopefully be finishing that thing up really soon. We've got quite a bit of stuff coming for that today. All right, I'm going to route this. I'm going to open this hole up, drop this cable in, and I think really the only thing left to do other than that is put the air cleaner on and maybe make some adjustments and take this thing for a drive, which I don't know if we'll be able to do today in the rain. See if that will give us enough enough to open this up. Slide that washer off. There we go. Try to route this thing through. This thing is surprisingly very difficult to get under this dash. You'd think it'd be easy, but the seats really need to come out of this thing before you can get in there. And this, yeah, that's gonna work. All right, that's gonna cover up those old holes, and tighten that thing up. I've popped this instrument cluster out. That's about as far as it'll go. So I tried to get the nut. What did I do with the nut? There it is. On the back side, because I cannot get my hand up in there. So I'm hoping I can do it from this angle, which I'm not real confident that I can do from this angle either. But I'm gonna try here. Okay, nope, I thought I threaded it. Did I? Shoot. Okay, I've got the nut over the cable. And I turned a light on outside so I can see the hole that I'm aiming for. Hopefully I can thread this without that dang nut falling off. Not fun. I'm not as limber as I once was in my old days, in my young days. Oh, come on, baby. And there goes the nut. Oh man, that nut's gonna drive me nuts. All right, so we got it through and buttoned up the cluster. Taking that down did not help me at all. I ended up being able to get my hand from this side up and get a wrench on the back side of that to get that nut tight for the choke cable. So, whew, installed. It's not the end of the world, but you do have to become a contortionist to work on this little thing. It's unbelievably tight up under there. Just everything's so compact, I guess. Kind of like working on a Corvette or something, but not a Corvette. All right, so that's where it originally routed through. You can see the grommet's just disintegrated. He's got some lights and stuff coming through that same hole, but that grommet is dead. So we got the cable through. We will find us a routing position for that and get on over here to the carburetor. And we'll hook it up here. Goes through here, that holds it, slides through there, that tightens it down, and then that'll be that. That's it on the choke. So let me go ahead and get that thing in there, and yeah, hopefully that will be all. All right. All right, she's tightened up. I just pulled it. Let's see if she'll open back up. Bingo. Booyah. All right. All right, let's fire this thing up and see if she'll idle. Got it neutral, got the brake on. it's a little choke. Let's see. Choke engage. Alright, I've got to go to the hardware store. I got to go to the hardware store and find a nut for that because the... Oops, so I can't see what I'm talking about. I got to take this off and find me a nut to go into that to block that. The ones that come with it, the kit, did not fit. We got to get some coolant back in this thing. And yeah, should be good. Let it warm up and we'll take her for a spin as long as it doesn't rain on us. Yep. All right, so we remove that, block it off. It's no longer running EGR. All right, got that plugged off. Little 1/2-inch pipe plug. She's running pretty good. I haven't driven it yet. It's about to start raining. Letting it warm up. Gasket, and we'll stick the base on there. Stick these little block washer, spring washers, whatever you want to call them, down there. And it looks like, well, I thought my parts were here for the Trans Am, but and they got these little lock nuts. Stick these lock nuts down on here. We'll lock the base down, then we should be able to put the clips on, I believe, and the filter. Whatever you do, don't drop your nuts down the carburetor bore. You don't want to have to fish that out of the intake. That would suck. Whoa! Flying tools. A little crisscross pattern. Alright, the base is on. You know what we gotta do though? This goes, I believe it's, I believe that is supposed to go, which is way too big for that, right? So we'll probably end up just putting a push-in breather in that and plugging this off. But we don't want fresh air getting sucked straight through here and not getting filtered. So I'm gonna put this in and I'm gonna cap that off. All right, I ended up spinning the evap around. I believe that's the evap, like the charcoal canister, I believe. So I hooked that up to it, so it'll suck vapors out of the fuel system, out of the fuel tank, and reburn them there. So that'll work. We'll need to find a push-in breather for that. We've got the EGR tubes popped, capped off there. Let's see, figure out this air cleaner deal, and we should be in business. These just snap on, holds the air cleaner down to the base. There we go. right, and that's that. She's done, man. We'll give her a little test drive, and the rain is, it tried to rain on me for a minute there, but we're good to go. Air clean lid's on tight, choke cable's on, throttle cable's on, working, return spring works fine. When this thing was warmed up, it fired right up. Let's see. Still in neutral here. Bam. Idle will come up a little bit. I don't have the choke on. Little motor, cools off fast. That's about it. I'll take you along for the ride. For those that stuck around this far, I appreciate you watching. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up on this video. And check out our playlists on other automotive content. We'll tool around the yard here for a minute before the rain comes in. Yeah, it's basically like a little side-by-side. Caleb just got off school, so we're gonna tool around this thing. I don't know if that fuel gauge works or not, but it's showing no fuel. None of those gauges are working. I don't know if they work or not. I have no idea. I'll have to call Josh and ask him. Or not. I just got that sitting there. Alright, right hand drive is a little on the goofy side to me. Look how high I gotta cram here. The leg room is crazy in this thing. I almost get a cramp in my hip trying to hover my foot above the clutch pedal. And there's almost no room to snake your foot in between. There is no room really to snake your foot in between the floor and the clutch pedal to like, after you shift, you know, it's just this thing is small. The owner of this, don't know Josh. He's like 6'4". He said his head sticks above the windshield when he drives it. It's a cool little Jeep though. It's like a little side-by-side. We don't need no brakes. Yeah, brakes work fine. All right, so that's it. Runs good. I need to cut the idle back down just a touch. It's about to start raining, so we'll test drive it some more later. He's got some other things he wants me to look at on it. Just give it a good once over. So now that we got the carburetor deal out of the way, we can tool around in it a little bit. But none of the gauges are working, so I'm not even sure how much gas is in this thing. I need to contact the owner and see if his gauges have never worked, or if it's something I possibly knocked loose. I don't think so, but I did slide that cluster out just a little bit, but it didn't want to go far. I can't remember if those gauges were working the first time I drove it or not. It may show it in this video. I have to go back and look. I can't even remember. We started this video like 2 weeks ago and had to take a break, but if you stuck around, I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and come back and see me again. Peace.